Hey, Teachable Tribe. Ashley over at Teachable. Today we are sitting down with Summer Tannhauser of Lady Boss League. Thrilled to be speaking with her. Summer, you want to say hey?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks so much for having me on. I'm super excited to be here and just share with everybody today.
Yeah, and we're thrilled to have you. I know I've been reading your content. Summer's worked with people like Mariah Cause on her Pinterest following, and obviously has a beautiful, successful blog on her own. And that's kind of where I want to start. Do you want to tell us a little bit about just what you do?
Sure, yeah, absolutely. So I really do focus on Pinterest strategy, but I do try to combine it with website content and blogging and conversion strategy as well, because you can have a really solid Pinterest strategy, but if you don't have the blog and the website behind it, you really aren't going to see the success. So I really try to help small business owners and bloggers figure out how to combine Pinterest with what they're already doing in their business to see sales and clients and building their email list.
That's awesome. And so I want to take it back for everyone listening. It's like, the make changers are the people that are getting ready to start leaving their job. They're doing it. They're building their businesses. At what point did you leave the 9-to-5?
Sure. So I'm kind of a long-time entrepreneur. I've been a small business owner for 7 years now. Yeah, and so I own two businesses, actually, my online space as well as a local service-based business. And so it was through my service-based business that I first left my 9-to-5. It's been about 4 years ago now that I left it. I was an elementary school teacher, and I had started building this business on the side as, a side hustle. And it was when my daughter was born that it was kind of like that event that just caused me to be like, this is crazy that I'm even trying to run two businesses at this point. And, I was at 9-to-5 and then add a daughter into the mix, it wasn't going to happen. And it was just kind of that thing that pushed me over the edge and made me realize, I've needed to do this for a while, but now is the perfect time to make this cut.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. That makes perfect sense. And two businesses, a daughter and teaching, that's crazy. So that's kind of where I want to start. I guess you started this service-based business. How did that happen? Like, how did that first inkling of anything get going?
Yeah, so it's a local dog walking and pet sitting company, and so it was me just thinking, oh, I'm going to make a little extra money on the side. Like, I had no idea that I was going to build this into a business, and being like a management role now and have employees and manage it. I don't provide any of the services. It's more of like my lifestyle business, I call it.
Yeah.
I'm not really involved in the day-to-day operations of it, but it's very much running in the background, and we've got, our VAs and office manager and that type of stuff taking care of it. But I started out, it was just a hobby. I like dogs. I was like, oh, I'm going to make a little extra money, my school or holidays, and it just slowly grew over the years. And I finally realized, wow, this is actually a business, and I loved it, and I loved everything about running a business, and that's what kind of caused me to become an entrepreneur. I didn't have a family who's a business owner or anything. It was just I found that love for it.
Yeah. And at what point then did that become Lady Boss League? Because that's very, very different.
Yeah, so like I said, I'm kind of a serial entrepreneur. I'm always looking. It's like I got to the point where I had that business basically kind of on autopilot, and so I was ready for my next thing that I was interested in, kind of like the next step in what I wanted my passions to be about now. And I'd grown that love for marketing, and I'd done a lot of things for my business, social media, and getting clients online and that type of thing. And so I'd really gotten involved in the online marketing space. And so I knew that it was time for me to start a business that had more to do with finding clients online and doing the whole kind of online world. So actually, before Lady Boss League, I started into a different online space. I was in travel and figuring out how I could almost start an online travel consultancy. And that's where I actually made my knowledge and experience with Pinterest and what my business is based on today, because that's where I figured out how to use Pinterest marketing, and I gained over 75% of my clients for that business directly through Pinterest. And I realized I was on to something then, that this was powerful.
Exactly. And it really is. You're successful. Many people are replacing their full-time incomes with these online blogging businesses. But that all seems like a little vague, right? It's like I start blogging, I start creating things. How did you go about, and I know this is a big question, but how did you build this website into the business that it is today?
Sure. So I got started with, getting some content out there. So that was what I kind of knew.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I want to get some solid pieces of blog content out there just so that my website kind of looks, a little bit full, like I'm not just, don't have anything there. So that was my first step. And then I really did dive into webinars was my first step to really kind of put myself out there and start. I felt like when I did that first webinar that people started to take notice of me, and it was easier to make connections with people who had been around for a while. And it's almost like people take you seriously then. Like if you've invested the time to go out there and put together this quality webinar, and it's like, your stuff, they can see that. And so then you're able to start kind of getting involved, I feel like, with people that have maybe a few steps ahead of you.
Absolutely. That's really cool. So one thing, you're the Lady Boss League. Why Lady Boss League? Why that name? I know I'm drawn to it. I know others are, so I want to ask.
So, it's funny. It was more so of a split-second decision.
Yeah.
Not how they did, like, this is why, I do feel like through my branding and kind of what I'm doing, I do attract a largely female audience. However, I do have plenty of males that actually email me and they're like, I know I'm not your target audience, but I still love what you're doing. Can you help me? And I'm like, here, there's nothing like exclusionary, but truthfully, it was more of one of those things where I was like, okay, I'm just going to go with it.
Yeah. I mean, coming from a company that was once named Fedora, helping to build each online, no judgment.
We may rebrand eventually, but for now, it is.
Yeah, no, and I really like it. So that's awesome. So I was looking on your website, and you're obviously like a Pinterest maven. Your designs are beautiful. The content is there. But I noticed you have courses too. At what point did you start shifting into courses, and why?
Yeah, so I guess coming from another business, I was very intentional when I was starting this business that I knew I wasn't going to be a service-based business forever. I started out by providing some Pinterest services and taking on some clients because I wanted to gain that experience and be able to show that what I did with my own Pinterest account is possible to do with others' Pinterest account, and kind of get that, social proof and it's a tangible thing that can happen. Going in, I knew that I wasn't going to offer services forever. Like that was a very limited thing that I was intentionally doing to start with. I knew how you can get caught into services, I feel like, and you can let it become, maybe you're leaving your 9 to 5 and then your new business really becomes your 9 to 5 if you're not careful, because you take on so many clients and it might be good money, but I feel like you've got to decide, is that what you're looking for? Are you looking to create yourself a new job, or are you looking to create yourself more of a more freedom, lifestyle-based company? And I knew going in that I wanted to create more of the freedom to my business, the flexibility. So I knew that courses and passive income and different products was really where I wanted to eventually get to. And so that's why I made that shift.
Yeah. Oh, that's so smart. I love that, because it is easy to leave and then you're just working 9 to 5 with new clients and freelancing. Like I've been there. So courses have done that for you, right? Because I've heard mixed reviews. Like, well, honestly, some people are like, oh yeah, I work on my course like my 9 to 5. But for you, it's passive income?
Well, for me, it's more of a choice. I'm a mom. I've got 2 young kids.
Yeah.
I don't have 10, 12 hours a day to work on my business. Some days I wish I did, but that's my
priorities.
You know what I mean? So it's more that it fits my lifestyle right now. And yes, I probably could sit down and work all day, every day on just making things better. I'm a perfectionist. I want to, tweak this video and this strategy, and there's always something that I could be doing, but I've really had to focus on what's going to make the biggest impact, and how can I leverage this course that I've created. How can I put it into different systems? How can I have a sales funnel? Can I do a webinar to do this, instead of always looking to create the next thing before maybe I've already leveraged what I've got?
I love that. That self-control is admirable. And it's really hard to do. I mean, I've talked to so many people, they like leave the 9 to 5 and then they just keep like doing it. They're just on the same grind that they left eventually.
Right.
That's awesome.
Hard. And for me, I probably, if I didn't have kids, maybe I would be, but it's more of like it's been forced on me. So it's okay though. I think it's a good thing to have that,
Yeah. So to dig into that, like how do you go about prioritizing what's the most important? And like how does that break down for your business?
Yeah, so I mean, I do have two different VAs that I outsource things to, so that really helps, trying to get different things like social media scheduling and the different steps behind it, so that if I write a blog post, I'm not sitting there and formatting it and finding photos and doing everything that needs to happen to get it on the blog. So I definitely try to outsource as much of the items that I don't have to specifically be involved in. So I really try to focus for myself on content creation, whether it be blog posts or, working on the courses or, really creating that content, which is something that I know that I have to do. It's not something that I can push out to someone else. And different live things. Like I do really enjoy webinars. So I try to host webinars fairly frequently, and I'm getting on podcasts more and different things like that, where it's like I directly need to be there. It's my voice or me on camera. So that's really what I'm focusing on right now.
Absolutely. That makes perfect sense. So with your lifestyle business, what is the best part of running your biz?
For me, it's the freedom. It's not like I'm out traveling or, doing all these extravagant things. Like I said, I've got, a 4-year-old and a 1-year-old. So it's not that I'm, going on these crazy trips, but it is that I'm not tied down to being at a job every day, all day. We went to the zoo the other day. We, go to the splash pad, to the pool. We do these things. And if I want to do it in the middle of the day on a Tuesday, I can. I'm creating my schedule. And I definitely think that's, for me, the biggest thing about having my own and being passionate about what I do. There's never a day I'm like, oh man, I have to do this.
Yeah.
I love this. Whereas going to my job before, there were definitely, Monday drag.
Yeah, always from the weekend. Yeah, that's awesome. So wondering, like, what's coming up next for you then,
Yeah, so I've got my current Pinterest course, but I'm really looking to make it bigger and better. So I'm relaunching this fall, and I'm turning it into a 2-part course now. So one part's going to all be Pinterest strategy, and then the other part is all going to be content conversion strategy. So, once they get back to your blog or your website from Pinterest, how are you converting them into email list signups and sales and clients? And so the second part's really going to focus on that. So I'm excited about having to it and really expanding and making it bigger and better.
Ooh, I can't wait for that. I mean, I know I've read your stuff. I've taken your advice. I've looked at it. That's perfect. I think a lot of people are right there where, even if you get Pinterest right, how do you turn that into actual money?
Right, exactly. So I love that part of it, looking at the sales funnel and how can you get more people to convert and that type of thing. So it's kind of the next step. And if you don't have that in place, then Pinterest doesn't.
Why bother?
Why do it? So we've got to have both parts.
Yeah. So digging into a little bit of the nitty gritty in Pinterest, there are so many blogs about it. There are articles, and I'll link to a couple of them here. What do you think is the one thing that most people are missing in their Pinterest strategy?
I think it's when they go in, they don't have the right mindset, because a lot of people are converting from a personal profile, or they've never really used Pinterest for business before when they first get started. And so they're still thinking of it as their personal pin board, where they're putting recipes and things that they want to decorate around their house. But it's a full mindset shift, because now your Pinterest profile is all about your ideal client. So you've got to be making everything about them. So the boards need to be things they would want to see, things about your business, but also what are their other interests? How can you put that into your profile? Having a really solid about section that tells, who you are, who you serve, what you do. Having a business name in your Pinterest profile that also has keywords in it. I'm really big on keywords, because that's Pinterest is like a search engine. It's not even really social media. And so you've got to have those keywords so that people can find you on there. So it's this whole mindset shift about making everything you do on there all about those ideal clients and who you really want to find your blog or your website.
Oh, I love that. That's so smart.
It works too.
Yeah, I know. I'm sure it does. I feel like I'm going to walk out of here and be like, okay, let's go look over those keywords as well. Cause you're right. Pinterest is more of a search engine than just social. And it has the conversion rates to back it up. I mean, when you see how much people end up making and that people spend like twice as much coming from Pinterest and other like social media, it makes sense.
Yeah, it's crazy the different stats you can get from it. It's like 41% of all e-commerce traffic comes from Pinterest. So, I mean, just think about that. All of those people, it's like people go to Pinterest when they want to buy versus Facebook is more like, oh, I'm going to go be social with my friends and network and that type of thing. But when you go to Pinterest, you're really looking to purchase. So that's, a big thing for businesses getting on there.
Yep. I love that. So for that first time kind of solopreneur, would your first advice to them be, like set up your website and then your Pinterest, or what is the first thing you would tell people to do?
Yeah, I really do think it's one of your good first steps because it's a way that Pinterest builds on itself. So if you can get your website up and have, 1 to 2 to 3 quality pieces of blog content on there, and then really making sure the images for that blog content is Pinterest optimized, so making it vertical images, having a real solid stock photo or something that's going to draw their attention, and then having that text on there that kind of gives a little teaser as to what your blog piece of content is going to be about. If you can just have 3 articles with those real solid images and then start pitting those to your account and really getting active on Pinterest daily, you can definitely repin those images, maybe not every day, but you're going to repin them, not just one time. You spend the time to make them, like get them out there and just really get active on Pinterest daily. You're going to start seeing that traffic come in, and it's just going to build on itself. So the get on there, the better.
Yeah, I love that. 100%. So before I let you go, I guess, do you have any last minute advice for your solopreneur or someone who's like looking to leave that 9 to 5?
I think it really has to do with you've got to figure out, can you make that jump? And I know for me, it was, I remember how hard it was even when I knew that I could make it and I knew that, this was a good reason to leave. But it's like you've got to just get in that mindset and be like, yes, I can do this. If you know from your financials and everything that you're doing, like, yes, I can make this leap. It's so you've just got to, take that leap and get in your mindset like, yes, I can do this, and just figure out, what are you going to do? Is this going to become, your new job, your new 9 to 5? And is that what you want? Because that's, that is what some people want. Or are you really looking to do this so that it supports your lifestyle? And is that what you're looking for? So I'm big about really knowing in advance, like what direction you're going.
Yeah, I love that. And I think that's something that most people I've talked to haven't touched on. And it really is like an active choice that should be on your mind.
And I don't think I would have realized that if I hadn't have owned a different service-based business ahead of time before making this leap. I probably would have, maybe dove into like, let me, start freelancing and let me do this to kind of boost my income. But I feel like if you've got the option to not need to do that right away, then it's more ideal if you can start, working on your email list and building those courses and getting those products and products and courses out there.
Yep. Yeah, that leap of faith like is nerve-wracking, right? You're like, oh crap, I still have rent, like I still have this like mortgage, I'm leaving my job. Of course you want to take on like all those freelancers right away, but it is smart to kind of invest long-term.
It's like, I've got limited time per day, so you've got to figure out, what's going to be the best use of that time, and, is it for the long-term gain, or do you need to do something right away? And for me, I was like, I'm looking for the long-term.
Yep. Perfect. Love it.